What do you feel like you've been doing really well out there the first couple of weeks?
I think just my effort. I just try to make an emphasis every time I go out there. I'm giving it my all. At the end of the day, this is the highest level of football that you can play at, and so you got to be ready to compete no matter what.
And what do you feel like you need to work on most?
Man, I'm still a young player. I got a lot to learn. When I could try and compare myself to Demario every day, there's a big gap there that I'm just trying to, fill 1% every single day, just so eventually, I can play at his level, at a high level.
What's the biggest thing that you learned from being around him now?
Man, just kind of really how to take that step from college to pro. Like, he's done it for a long time. I've try and steal stuff here and there. He's, whenever I have questions, he's always there, ready to ask, ready to be there. At the same time, I don't want to bug him. He's got his own stuff that he needs to do, but he's been great. Him and Pete both just kind of been leading that room, doing what it takes. They see something on the field, we're always talking. If I see something in film, to alert them, we're looking out for each other, and that's just what good teammates do.
How has the learning curve been for you so far, learning Brandon Staley's defense?
It's a little different, but at the end of the day, where I was before, we did a lot of different defensive fronts, different defensive schemes, and so just kind of the verbiage is what changes. But besides that, it's kind of been, obviously there's going to be some hiccups here and there, but a little kind of seamless in my opinion.
Is it difficult in this kind of situation? There was one where you hit somebody, but it was almost like an excuse me hit. Is it hard for you not to hit somebody? You know what I mean?
A little bit. At the end of the day, we are teammates, so you got to look after your guys, but I'm wired, I like to get, some contact here and there, but, we are teammates. You got to look after your guys, and we need everyone here, come week one.
How much fun was this today?
Oh, it was a blast. That's why I got the mustache. It was a war day, so we're ready to go.
Wait, mustache means war?
Yeah, you shave it off. You got the paint on. You're just ready to hit somebody.
What does a beard mean?
It's just a little soft, man. You gotta have. I want nothing on my chin strap, just so I can feel it all.
So, did you shave in anticipation for today, or did you?
For sure.
Okay.
For sure.
We're just making sure we got that down.
Yeah.
I need to know that.
It was Coach Staley was saying look, tomorrow we're taking the war path. I don't know what the war path means, but I was like, all right, we need a mustache. I guess so.
You replace Demario. Sometimes you replace Pete. Sometimes, and then sometimes you're with Nephi. Sometimes you're with DeMarco. Is it a fairly even split between Mike and Will for you, or it's primarily
right now I've just been playing Mac, so kind of behind Demario. Whatever I need to do, whatever I need to learn, I'm willing to do it. I think just because I'm coming into a new scheme, they don't want to overload me and throw too much at me. I'm ready for it, but I understand it from a coaching staff scheme. And then whoever I'm with, we're just trying to build that chemistry. When you're playing with some different guys, it's a little different, but you got to have communication. You can't let the drop-off change depending on who you're on.
And how important is it for you to show them that you can wear that communication device and call? Is that as much of it as playmaking on the field?
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's not difficult to repeat what you're hearing, the call. It's not like we have something crazy. I just got to make sure everyone gets a call, because if they don't, they're not lined, it all goes on me. And that's what I'm used to. I think that was kind of a cool thing that college has implemented. And so I think it prepares, the next guys coming in they've already done it before. They're used to it. And so you don't really have to get that change of pace.
And the interception you had early in camp, what did you see on that play?
Yeah, so, in that look, usually when a team gets empty, they're going to try and isolate the Mike backer. I saw, Spence make a check to the, a receiver. Anytime you kind of got a receiver in that position, it's obvious where they're going. I think everyone knew. And then just able to make a play. Ball's a little low. Spencer knew that. We talked after. But just make a play. At the best level, it's going to happen like that. And you just got to put yourself in the best position to make plays.
Jonathan Christian talked about how the defense started out a little bit slower than Justin B kind of got into y'all as a unit and said we're better than this. I know you're new to the team, and so is he, but how have you seen the way he's been leading the defense so far?
Yeah, obviously he's played at the highest level, has been played a part of a lot of big games, so he knows what it looks like when a team comes out slow. Everyone does, but that's the leadership that we need on this team. That's the culture that we're trying to build. It's player-led, so when something's not to our standard, there's a guy like him, Cam, Demario, that are willing to call it up, restart it, and I think from that point on, we looked great.
Can you talk about the scrimmage and even in that second half, how opportunistic the defense was coming up with a couple of big turnovers?
Yeah, I think when you get in that red zone, that's when takeaways are key. I think Nephi had a huge one, and then we had another one later. That's big. That's when your defense, really needs to come alive. And I think we did at the biggest parts of the day.
I don't know the right way to phrase this. You seem like a confident guy. Is this going about how you expected so far?
Honestly, coming to this level, I didn't really know what to expect. Obviously, you're told it's going to be, you're playing the highest level with the, it's going to be a different speed. But I mean, every single day I try to prepare myself to the best possible ability, kind of wake up with that sense of pressure that you have to perform now. It's not like college where, if you mess up, they'll keep you around, you got your scholarship, you're safe. Now it's, you mess up, I mean, you're going home, you're packing your bags, and that's been real. That's how it is. So you kind of got to have that, like, that drive, that sense, like, look, like, this is what I do for a living now. This is my passion. This is my joy. This is why I wake up in the morning. And I think, that just kind of motivates me to be on edge every single day.
It feels like you're kind of always around the ball. Jack Stoll said, you get up on guys quick. Is that something you pride yourself on with football?
Yeah, I mean, that's how you get tackles. That's the effort part I talked about. I mean, that's just like a passion. You can't really teach that. I think that's the bottom line. You can teach scheme, technique, but you can't teach effort. And that's what I've kind of always had, at a young age, and what's always prided myself in how I play.
We talked about you getting, some first team reps and things like that all throughout camp, and just curious about the sort of what it means to you to kind of be earning those opportunities this quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I've been blessed to have those opportunities, and I just got to make the most of it. You're going against that great talent. You can't be a step behind. Your steps have to be efficient. Your hands have to be efficient. Everything. You make one false step. The ball's getting past you. You're not levered. You're not in the right position. So you got to be critical. You got to know exactly what you're doing every single play. And at the same time, you got to be quick. You got to react. I think it's good to get those reps now. So come game time, it's not like I haven't seen it before. I think we have a very talented O-line. A lot of first rounders on that offensive line. So it's great for me to see the best of the best.
Danny, it's always tough for rookies to navigate when you go through the pre-draft process. You're trying to run the best 40 time you can, but then you want to come here and you want to be physical. I mean, did you have a balance between that? Or are you at the weight and the size and the strength you want to be already by now?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't cut too much from my combine train. Obviously, it is completely different. And then that whole experience was something else. I had one workout. It was with the Saints, and crazy how that works. It all worked out. I'm blessed that they called my name. But just at the end of the day, you have to be ready for football. It's a quick turnaround when you get drafted, and then you're right into rookie minicamp, OTAs, all that. You got to be ready to play. Your name gets called, and the pressure's on.
What weight do you want to play at? What feels good for you?
Whatever they tell me. Yeah. They want me to put 20 pounds on, put my hand on the dirt, I'll do it. They want me to lose 15. I can be at play safety a little bit, but I'm around 240 right now, and I think I'm moving good, running good.
Danny, you are from my
all right, let's slow down there.
Have you ever gotten tickets with Chad Powers?
Of what?
Chad Powers.
I mean, a few times. I get a lot of Leonardo DiCaprio, Ryan Gosling, so I get a few of those comparisons. I'm honored, I'm flattered, but at the end of the day, I gotta be my own person. Gotta have my own personality. But I mean, it's cool to get compared to those guys a little bit. Chad Powers, I like it. I wish I could sling the ball like him a little bit, but I mean, it is what it is.
How do you think your personality meshes with the distinct culture of the world?
I think we go great together. Being a part of this, this culture, I think it was a great opportunity for myself. I kind of have a little bit of a personality to me. I think that's kind of what the embodiment of New Orleans is, that culture, that fan base. And I think there's no better place I'd rather be.
Sunday, so I'm guessing you had your bread and wine.
What's up?
It's Sunday, so I'm guessing you had your bread and wine.
My bread and wine was hitting people on the football field today. I haven't had the chance to do much other than that.
You're a very productive player in college. Are you surprised at all by your draft position, or is that not what you expect?
I mean, obviously there's some stuff that goes into it. I think there's so much that can happen, behind the scenes that you don't know about. I mean, I think I put myself in the best possible position. I think I did everything you needed to do. I was a first-team Big 12, first-team SEC, All-American. I did it all in college. That's what I wanted to do when I came back for my final year. I wanted to be remembered in that legacy, be remembered in that program with a lot of the greats. And I just wanted to leave a mark. At the end of the day, I could have left in 3, but I had a thing, for that fan base and for that culture there that I wanted to leave the right way. And so at the end of the day, wherever I got drafted, I know I had no regrets, and I left it all in that field at Oklahoma.
Was the grade that you were hearing after that third year the same as where you ended up getting drafted?
It was around the same. I kind of thought I was going to get taken in day 2. But, for how it goes with linebackers, you never really know. Sometimes they fly off quicker, but, they kind of, it's a position that doesn't get drafted as early as, some others. But, at the end of the day, you're on a team now, and nothing you can do to change that. And now it's just time to produce, and then, just work your tail off to get to see that field.
seems to have a kind of a long but recent history of a lot of press man coverage. What does sort of the vision on the quarterback do for you on this defense?
It allows you to make plays. As long as you know where the quarterback's looking, that's the quickest way to get to the ball. So when you're not, have to focus so much on a man, but you're kind of being in the way, that's how you make a lot of plays, make a lot of money.
Did that kind of factor? I mean, you talked about the interception. Did that kind of factor in your ability to be able to see things develop the way that you expected them to develop?
Absolutely. When you have depth, you can be able to play behind it. It's huge. If I'm just staring at that guy, never see the ball thrown, never be able to make a play on it. And so I think that's just Coach Staley's defense that allows linebackers to make plays within the system.
How has Justin Reed been as a leader on the defense?
I mean, he's been huge. His experience, in the games that he's played in, has been detrimental to the development of a lot of these younger guys on the team. And to be able to have a guy like that that's willing to just pour into these younger guys, he was brought in here to be a veteran, to be a leader, and he's done that every single day. He hasn't faltered in that aspect at all. I think it's huge for a guy like Jonas and some of these other DBs that can have someone always in their corner to go after them. I mean, you already see the friendship and kind of that they're building in there. That's huge. That's what you need from your older guys who've done it at the highest levels. When you bring them in here to build a culture, I think he's kind of one of the key pieces in that foundation.
Did he kind of pull all you guys together today? I think Christian was talking about him kind of pulling together the defense.
Yeah, those that first two drives, I think, weren't at the standard that we need to play at. It's not at the level that we want to compete. That doesn't win games, and he saw that right away, and he called it up. Said it how it is. We're all grown men. We can take that, and it puts a little chip on our shoulder, gets lights a fire under you, and then we were ready to go, reset, and we were making plays from there on out.
Is that the kind of vocal leadership you're accustomed to having, sort of from your role as well? Like, is that kind of how you were at Oklahoma?
Absolutely. I think there's levels to it. Right now I'm not in a position. I don't have the respect, to be able to do something like that. That's why you bring a guy in like Justin Reed. You have Demario Davis. You have Cam Jordan. Those leaders that have earned that. They've earned that respect from how they play to how they are every single day. The same person day in and day out. So when they speak like that, you have to listen to them.
And I assume you aspire to kind of be in that place when that's appropriate as well.
Absolutely. Like I said, you just have to got to do everything you can right now, every single day, to earn that respect. I'm a young guy coming in, just kind of learning the ropes, and eventually, hopefully, I know it will come true, but I'll have that same same power.
And how much have you seen Spencer evolve from that 1 year I guess y'all were together that all year?
Oh, it's night and day. Spencer's development as a man, just as a player, has been huge. He's faced a lot of adversity at Oklahoma. There was games where he's getting booed by his own home crowd, and that could really just kill your confidence. From that aspect though, but his mindset really changed. I think when he went to South Carolina, he really grew. He became a great player. He's always had the talent, but that mindset has completely changed, man. Being a great, humble guy, and now his confidence is starting to show out. He's starting to make plays, and he's really being a leader in that locker room every single day. And to have a guy like that, to see the change. I had him for 1 year, my freshman year, and he welcomed me in, but it's a little different. He was that 5-star quarterback, and I think he got humbled a little bit, and now he's flourished in this system, and he's looked great.